We've built an AI platform focused on helping investors. We named our AI Hedge. We've asked Hedge to analyze stocks owned by the largest hedge funds and predict their 12-month returns. To accomplish this, Hedge analyzed all the constituents of the ALFA ETF, which trades using ticker ALFA. ALFA ETF holdings consist of the largest single position of the largest hedge funds. Their largest holdings have doubled or tripled and may not be the best investment opportunities now. This presentation will provide the investor with analysis of the ETF and all 37 underlying stocks, allowing them to decide if it's wiser to buy the ETF or just some of the hedge fund top holdings individually. First, let's look at the ETF as a whole. Hedge has analyzed all 37 underlying companies of the ETF and has predicted their 12 months return. As you can see, half the companies are predicted to outperform the average market returns, while the other half are predicted to produce negative returns relative to the market average. According to the marketing materials, the ALFA ETF has an annual fee of 65 basis points, which translate to an investment cost of 6.7% over 10 years. That's how much you pay to the fund managers to simply compile a list based on other managers' research ideas. So these folks want to collect almost 7% of your money every 10 years simply for putting other stock picks into their ETF without doing any of their own stock research. We provide due diligence on these investments for you since the ETF provider doesn't. And we do it as a free resource for all investors. We believe that the top hedge fund managers had great ideas when they purchased their stocks. But we don't know how long they've held these positions. They may have made a lot of money on their investments, but that does not mean that now is the best time for you to buy into their stocks. The largest holdings in a hedge fund have most likely had huge price run-ups, making the hedge fund a lot of money. So the largest hedge fund holdings may not be the best investment opportunities. That makes sense, right? The Hedge Analytics platform provides users tools to understand the investment worth of the entire ETF based on its holdings. The ratings are an average of its holdings. If you follow us, you know that Hedge's artificial intelligence uses the following 4 gauges to predict market relative returns. Machine-learned industry-specific gauges are cheapness, momentum, profitability, and sentiment. This platform charts the history of these 4 gauges for each holding and charts the average gauge values to understand the investment value of the ETF. ALFA's cheapness score has been consistently poor with little movement since 2015. Cheapness has a current score of 21. A score over 60 means that the ETF presents a good value. This is most likely because the top holdings of the hedge funds have already doubled, tripled, or even quadrupled, so they are certainly expensive now. Profitability is average with a score of 55 out of 100. A score over 60 means the ETF has strong profitability. So far, we see ALFA is very expensive and has average profitability. The sentiment score is a gauge of how the professional Wall Street analysts view the earnings potential of the ETF holdings. ALFA's sentiment score is currently at 75 and beginning to trend upward. We see that Wall Street analysts influence hedge fund holdings. Hedge fund managers are paying attention to what Wall Street analysts are thinking. So will Hedge in making its predictions. Momentum has been trending down in the first half of the year and currently sits at 72 out of 100. Our artificial intelligence has shown that the best time to buy into an investment theme is when all 4 aggregated bottom-up gauges are above 60. The ETF has above-average scores for sentiment and momentum and an average score for profitability. So the ETF doesn't suck, right? But maybe we can find names in the ETF that are better buys than the entire ETF. Let's examine ALFA's top 3 Hedge predicted stocks to determine if it makes more sense to buy the individual stocks or the ETF. The number 3 hedge fund owned stock is Lam Research, ticker LRCX. Lam Research Corporation is an American corporation that engages in the design, manufacture, marketing, and service of semiconductor processing equipment used in the fabrication of integrated circuits. Lam Research is rated as an industry outperform in the semiconductors and semiconductor equipment industry. Our return forecast is for Lam Research to outperform the market average returns by 21% in the next 12 months. Number 2 on our top 3 list is Skyline Champion. Ticker SKY. Skyline Champion is one of the largest home builders in North America. In addition to its core home building business, Skyline Champion operates a factory direct retail business named Titan Factory Direct, and they also own Starfleet Trucking. Skyline has a sentiment of 100, so it's universally loved by Wall Street analysts. Hedge rates Sky an industry outperform in household durables. Our return forecast is for Skyline Champion to outperform the market average returns by 21% in the next 12 months. And Hedge's number one hedge fund-owned stock is Apple. Apple continues to diversify its revenue streams. The iPhone accounted for 65% of Apple's revenue in 2017. Today it's down to 40%, but overall revenue continues to grow. They sold 194 million iPhones, 71 million iPads, and 20 million Mac and MacBook units in 2020. Apple's home and wearables division grew 25% in 2020. It sold over 110 million AirPods and 43 million Apple Watches. Hedge rates Apple as an industry buy in the technology hardware, storage, and peripherals industry. Our return forecast is for Apple to outperform the market average returns by 23% in the next 12 months. Those are Hedge's top 3 hedge fund-owned stocks from the ALFA ETF. Hedge's AI was trained using 40 years of data to determine how each metric's formulation best predicts stock returns. The data is updated frequently to capture a stock's price movement, its company news, and its financial disclosures. Hedge regularly updates predictions, so check our site to stay updated. You can review the entire report by clicking the link provided in the comments of the video description. If you found this video useful, or if you already use hedgeanalytics.com, please follow this account for more Hedge top 3 lists and tips on how to get the most out of Hedge Analytics.